receivers, no big statement. Take questions.
It's good to see everybody. Excited for this moment. Good practice today. The focus and the intensity in our guys and the staff is where you'd want it to be. Everyone's looking forward to this one. You know, a lot of respect for Auburn and Coach Freeze, and know a lot of the coaches there, and know a lot of those players. And so a lot of respect for them and what they can do and what they're capable of, and really want them to achieve all of that, just not here in this first game. And so looking forward to kicking the season off, and I know that our guys are trying not to count the days, but work during these days in the lead up to. Take any questions you got.
Dave, I know you guys approach every opponent like the same in terms of preparation and everything. Is it different though going up against a Power 5, Power 4 school in terms of the excitement that brings to the players and maybe what it could do for you if you win that game?
I tried to not focus on that. The emphasis is still the same as you mentioned. I think it's very much heavy on the outside of our building, very heavy not that. And so I try to, if they're colored by all of it outside the building, when they come in the building, I try to be able to turn it the other way. And so that's always a hard thing, especially when there's no school. School is today. Or even now where there is school, is going to be, when you don't have them the entire time, I think it's always difficult.
I think that outside noise Baylor's been trying to build this game up, right? The chrome helmets, drone show, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How big does that make this game? Maybe just playing into that and feeding into that. Have you talked to the guys at all about that?
No, I think the game is big, and hey, they got us in a negative first down. It's second down, right? They know we're going to pass. Can we protect? Can we get separation on the receivers? And, hey, we have a one-on-one tackle. Can we make it? Hey, we have an edge set. Can we fill and beat the crack block, and can we play the crack and go that's coming later? Those are the moments I think about.
Coach Auburn's got some really good receivers. I guess, how do you think your secondary is equipped to handle those receivers with kind of some of the pieces you brought in?
It's a challenge. I think it's a challenge. I think it's going to take the front people doing their part to help the people that are in the back. I think we're going to have to be able to get calls in. We have to have cleats in the ground. I think if you're looking at it as a one-on-one or one versus one proposition, I can see where maybe from the Auburn side you're feeling confident about all of it. I think we have to look at it as hey, this is where my help is. This is where I'm playing to my help. This is my part in the thing. I'm going to do my part so that the overall team can execute. And so I think pass rush is a big part of that too. I think, it's going to come down to stopping the run and getting them into when we feel like they got to throw it. I think if they're running the ball and they can play action pass and 4x1 RPO kind of at will, then I think we're not kind of in control of anything, and then that's when those matchups become an issue. I think if we're able to get it to where it's a one-sided thing, at least partly, I think we can play some of that better.
Coach, do you have a health update on Carl Williams?
I don't think he's going to be back. I just passed him in the indoor, and they're repping him right now, kind of post-practice on trying to loosen him up and that, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it.
Dave, you mentioned the pass rush. I know you don't want to give us your whole game plan here, but would this be an opportunity to blitz a little more to try to help those guys on the back end?
It's interesting because a lot of respect for a QB that they have, and we've watched a lot of film of him, whether it's OU or even high school, and got big arm, so he's a big shot guy, and then is confident and collected enough to get checkdowns. but the scrambles are worrisome, and so I think more games are lost rather than won early in the season. You look at the games that were played in week 0 here, just all the turnovers and just all of it, and I think our game is probably going to be lost before it's won, and so by somebody, and so I just think being aggressive and all these things are things that you want to do, and all this, you got to be sound. You got to keep the quarterback contained. You got to make him earn it. And so those are things we're focusing on.
Dave, second year calling plays for you again. What was the biggest challenge or philosophy change you made in adapting your defense this year compared to last season?
Yeah, there's a lot. I think I think in this league, I think the tempo, the offensive skill. I think the Big 12 favors offensive skill players, talent and everything, to defensive skill players. I think that there's a bunch of creativity and tempo, and I think in the past at other leagues there would be plays that could hit, or they probably would hit, but there would be, man, I'm not going to call this in this game because if it doesn't hit, man, I'm going to get criticized. There's none of that in this league. Like that'll be one of the first 3 plays, and so there's kind of a go for the jugular thing, and I think to combat that, you have to know how they're seeing you, right? They want the information of what coverage you're in, what front you're in, and how it works. A lot of them have the playbook pages to all of it, and so then I think if you start from that, there's a fair amount of kind of overhauling, from the ground up work you got to do. So it's been cool to do that with this group. I'm excited to see how it looks.
Dave, with this game being played on a Friday, how do you balance being grateful for the opportunity playing in front of a national audience on a big stage, but also understanding the concerns of the THSCA of a FBS game being played on a Friday in Texas?
Yeah, when there was another game that was being talked about for being played on Friday too, possibly, and had calls to the Texas High School Coaches Association, and that kind of thing went away. And then I think this was possibly talked about as a Thursday prior. And once the one Friday game with the other opponent went away, the very next week this game came up. It was a Friday game. And so at that point you're kind of going, this is what it is. And, just the talks with just everyone involved, kind of being honest, and everyone understands why we're doing it. And so I just think, you have to be able to have those honest talks. And I'm thankful for everyone involved that we did that.
Lewis Brown seems like a guy that's really kind of stood out in fall camp. What makes him special, I guess?
I'm excited for him. I think he's got good size, speed, and there is I think this game could be. There's some dog in him. I'm trying to find the right words. I kind of don't want to say it that way. I don't know what else to say. I think he can very much take over a game. He can very much take over a series. I think he has those qualities, and so there's been practices, scrimmages that he's done that, and right from the beginning, we've got a fair amount of quality transfers that are in here. We feel are quality guys, and they've all achieved to some degree. None as fast or as quick as him. None that were just as immediate as him, and none that have continued to take off as him. And so, whatever he's got, I'm buying it.
Dave, Auburn is really deep up front, and then when you look at their linebacking core, they have a lot of young talent back there that DJ Durkin has to work with. What are you seeing from that unit, and how do you see your offensive line handling up against them, especially Caden making his first start?
Yeah, I think there's talent there. I think very similar in, you look at the beginning of the year last year, and those first couple games, the Utah game comes to mind, and then you look at the end of the year, any of those last 6 or 7 games. And the difference was in the beginning of the year, man, we would lose a block. We'd lose a one-on-one. You know, a lot of what we do is block out, and so there's some man blocking going on, and we'd block out and we'd be cross-faced, or a guy would slip underneath us, or towards the end of the season, you never really saw that at all. You saw, you know, pounding knees and leverage and lift and finish and all this thing. And so I think that is going to be at a premium for this game because of the, you know, the talent that's assembled over there. I think that, along with tempo, and I think that along with the more, you know, the more that it's spread out, and if we're able to get loaded boxes, our ability to win on the perimeter, and to get those guys that are inside to run this way and then run that way and run back and forth, and then hit them with a run is all part of it.
Dave, are there any other help updates you can offer, like specifically Michael Turner? How's he doing?
I don't know if he's gonna make it either. I thought that he would. I think he, you know, he was out there today. If I were to bet, he probably wouldn't make it. I'm hoping that he does, though. We'll see. I think that could be closer to game time. Yeah.
Do you remember what Josh Cameron was like as a walk-on receiver when he first got here, and what do you think has allowed him to go from unheralded prospect to what he is now?
I think there's always people. I think you're always so thankful and grateful to have people that can be in any, and just they can be dropped off in a room, read the room, and they get it. They understand, they get it. They don't have to be told who's who, or they don't have to be told, hey, this is that agenda, or this is what these people are trying to do, or these people are for it, these people are not. Here's the dynamics. They get it, they read it, and you know, and then also on top of that, they can stay above the fray of everything. They can say, hey man, all this is going on, I'm just gonna do my work. I'm gonna put my head down, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I just think that is so rare. Oh my goodness. That's like, you know, what that allows you to do is to continually get better. Like, you never die. Everything that comes at you is for your own good, and you improve, and there you go. And Josh is very much that way. And I think you could see that right from the beginning. You know, there's guys to maybe cross over into football talk. It would be, hey, you tell them one time, they get it. Or someone makes that mistake, and they're across the room, they see it, they got it. Josh is very much that way.
Dave, I say it every year, but like for us as writers, this time of year, getting ready for football is harder than football itself. Like, in terms of all the stuff we have to do and everything.
Yeah.
We get to the games and we're like, you know, breathe a sigh of relief. Like, is there some of that for y'all in terms of? Well, I'm just saying, like, the excitement. The excitement. Is it more stressful?
Yeah, no.
Gotcha. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dave, two of the positions, well, I'm sure there are a lot of positions that came down to the wire, but I know kicking and snapping were two of the last ones to be determined. Do you have a decision on those?
They were
yet?
rotating again today, yeah. We're trying to take it, you know, we had competition periods today. We had a bunch of guys, so we're in the indoor, and we're breaking outside to kick, or outside for O&D. But then prior, we set up a little, like a scrum, I guess, and we got guys over there, and they're yelling in the holder's ear hole, and they're trying to scream at the kicker, and we're trying to get them to kick, you know, 45-yard field goals and all that. And so we're keeping track of all that. We're going to do that again tomorrow, and then I think finally kind of finalize the deal. But yeah, still going on.
Dave, obviously all eyes are on what Cam Coleman brings, what Eric Singleton brings with Auburn. What are you seeing from their rushing attack? Because I feel like that's getting lost in the shuffle when it comes to this game.
Yeah, that's the best thing they do. They're physical. You know, they move people. They're bump combos, and so, you know, if this is a 3 technique, there'll be a guard that'll post up a 3 technique, and there'll be a tackle that'll just come. And there's countless examples of where that 3 technique's ejected. I mean, it's like watching a car crash. There he goes. And so we can't allow that to be us. There's a bunch of people that have, you know, put that on film. Our challenge is to not do that. You know, I think their run game is a downhill run game. They run power without pullers. They'll run counter, and then they have their beaters. If they see like an odd front, there's things they like. If there's 4 down front, there's things they like. So they are a physical run game, and they got talent running back.
You've mentioned the emotions that can come with a big primetime season opener like this. How valuable is it to have experienced guys like Sawyer and Josh, just to name a few? How much of a safety blanket is that? That's not the first time going to an environment like this.
Very much so. Yeah, it is. I think you want to start fast in a game like this. I think so much of what's different is coming out here and talking to you all, because I can get the sense of it. We go back into our little rooms, and that building over there, we're kind of in the dark, and it's kind of like, hey, we're doing all this work in the dark. Pretty soon we're going to be stepping out into the light, and it can be bright sometimes for people, and so I just think we've got guys that have been in the light before and have shown brightly in the light, and so that's helpful for some of the guys that haven't yet and are wanting to do that.
What changes with game week preparation when you have a game that's a day earlier, as far as installs or anything like that?
Trying to move up the schedule this second week of it, or this is the third week of it, of just, everything's a day ahead. And so, we would start on our Sundays and then go through Monday, and then you'd end on Friday. So you kind of got on that schedule a couple weeks ago to kind of just have that rhythm of how that goes. And so, I think it is. There's countless days I forget what day it is, because we're doing that, and we're saying, hey, this is a practice day, but really this is the actual day some other day. But we've been on that schedule here for a couple weeks.
Dave, going back to the stepping under those lights, the light is pretty bright on Sawyer right now. How have you seen his preparation leading up to this week and in that spotlight for this team?
He takes his preparation and he takes his responsibility on the team and in the offense very seriously, and he's been way detailed in his approach, and with him and Spav, and in terms of the work they've done looking at film and getting on the same page. And what's neat is coming around this year, right? So you're given, hey, I like this, I like that. There's a bunch of that going on, which is cool to see. But I think his ability to kind of stay focused amongst all of the attention is something we've really been talking about since the start of summer, when it really kind of ramp up.
Who do you expect to take the place of Carl at start?
We've got a couple guys right now that are working there, and so I think there's 11 personnel when it's a little bit more, when there's one tight end, 3 receivers, a little bit more spread out, and we want to be able to get a little bit more of a blitzer there. And then there's times when it's 12 personnel, and we want like a bigger safety, somebody that can possibly man up a tight end if need be and set edges and all that. And so I think we've got both guys, we've got both body types working there. I think one of the biggest differences with the defense, at least our plan is going into this first game, is to rotate quite a bit, whether it's the linebacker position or the nickel/safety position. I think that, certainly, as always, the defensive line position will do that, but we want to rotate it a fair amount and get multiple guys playing. We feel that we have the depth to do that.
Is it beneficial at all? Y'all got a couple of, big Power 4 teams in non-conference. Just how beneficial is it to have those early in the season?
I think what it does is it forces you to be at your best when it matters most. I think it channels your focus, and then I think it helps to kind of get a brand and a name, and gives you an opportunity to win a big game. And I think all those things are good, and I think all those things need to happen. And so, I'm excited about the opportunities that we have. Really looking forward to trying to capitalize on them.
Coach, with all the recruiting and NIL and lead up to game day and everything that you have going on, your coaching staff as well, do you ever feel personally like you're burning the candle at both ends on some of this? And how do you personally have dealt with that in this offseason?
No, I mean, you get used to just the everyday of like what it is, and when you do have time, it kind of that messes you up, you know. But you're used to just kind of rolling and routine, I guess. When your routine is always such that whether you're looking at this or you're studying that or you're planning ahead for this next thing, you're kind of always on it, and so have not felt any negative stuff from that. I've always looked forward to the next thing that's coming.
Do you have any memories or interactions with Lee Corso? I don't know if you have any time to watch game day, but he's a pretty important voice in the sport.
Yeah. I called him once when I was at Cal Lutheran. This is before there's no cell phones at this time, and what they used to have was like an AFCA manual, and it was basically like everybody's phone number was in there, and I was the dude that would call people, you know. And so this is embarrassing. So I called him, and his number was in there, and I was asking about coaching. I don't really know why I called him, but he was I remember him being very gracious, and I remember him like, you know, who's this dude, right, calling me. He wasn't none of that. He was like answering all the questions, asking me. I was at Cal Lutheran University at the time, Division III school, and he was asking me about Calu and our season and all this. And so like I think of that now. Would I be as gracious as he was with that? And so that's my one interaction with him. I always remember that.
Thank you all.
Okay. Thank you, guys.